Hello, everyone. We have a word from our sponsor, so sit tight and we'll get to the cast. This summer has a high record heat. Walking outside has been rough. I personally walk outside and work outside for a living, and it has been rough out there this year. But one of the best ways I keep hydrated is with Liquid IV. You just rip a packet, add it to water, and drink it down. I personally like the watermelon flavor because it is actually really good compared to a lot of other sports drink I had, and it's not too sweet, which is nice. Another thing that's really nice about it is 3 times more electrolytes, which I always seem to be struggling, especially in this heat. So 3 times more is very noticeable on those hot days. So you can get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code NERDBS at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code NERDBS at liquidiv.com. Remember, all lowercase, and thank you for listening. And now let's move to the cast. Welcome to another episode of Nerd BS. It is September 5th, 2023, and it's a Tuesday. I'm Alan, and I'm joined by my usual podcast mates, Tomas and Kyle. Before we begin, I would like to do a small eulogy. I would like to take some time to pay respects to someone who was taken from us far too early. Feared the Druid. He was able to traverse through hell and back, defeating many powerful enemies in his 93 levels, but found his life cut short by the most troublesome foe, the Diablo 4 servers. He died as he lived in hardcore mode. Would you guys like to say anything in respects to Feared the Druid?
I'm never gonna forget him. This is a hard blow.
May he rest in power, friend.
Yeah. So basically, Tomas's character died in hardcore mode, and I thought it was interesting. It was a bit wacky. I heard about it the other day, and he was pretty pissed about it, which I thought was funny, but sad, because it's hardcore mode. And also, it got killed. How would you explain it, Tomas?
I got killed by a spider, and I'm level 93. I don't know how you die to a spider at level 93, but it's because the server went down and froze.
Yeah.
And so I was
That's
playing.
The important part there.
And I was playing with a friend of mine, Bri ours also, and Bri was trying to keep the spiders off me while I rebooted, right? But the spiders all have poison, and so the poison is killing me, and he can't stop the poison on me. And he said when he died, he yelled, "Fuck!" And like his mom came out and was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Tomas just died."
Oh my goodness! Tomas just he said it like that. That's rough.
I tried.
Wait, what? Do I need to call? Do I need to call his mom or what?
Like in real life?
No, I think she knew because she saw him play.
Okay.
All
right.
It's like, dang it. Stupid spiders. Yeah.
Well, now you've learned your lesson in no hardcore mode. Welcome to the cast, if I haven't said so already. And we will be moving on to some other topics. But if anybody would like to say anything before we move on, you're more than welcome to do so.
You took the beginning and you did
I
it well.
I stole it.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You stole the opening credit.
Stole it all, and now we will move on to something else that I would completely steal, because I am the one I think has spent the most time on this particular game, as I love this game. I've been loving this game, and ever since it launched, I'm talking, of course, of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This game is fantastic, and I was very excited in our Discord, and even I think we discussed it on the cast at a certain point. A DLC was announced, or was launched actually, on August 30th.
Specifically, you're talking about the DLC, because we've played TMNT Shredder's Revenge when it first came out.
And we have talked about it on here before.
Yeah,
right.
But you apparently went all out on the DLC because you hit level 10 with Wrath, right?
Yeah, I went all out on this game in general, because I have beaten it numerous times on both the PS4/5, PS5, but the PS4 version, which I'll come back to later. And I also have played it a ton on the Switch. So I have the aspect of both of them. And I've played them with both of you guys, I thought both at the same time on the PS5. But then I think,
maybe.
Kyle, you said you were getting it on the Switch.
The DLC I got for the Switch, yeah.
The DLC.
But did you have the first one on the PS5, right?
Me?
Yeah.
I have them on both.
Oh, okay.
And here's one of my problems. I love the Switch, and I've talked about it a lot, but they don't have achievements. And there's in-game achievements for this game, which are great, but there's no trophies or achievements. And it's like, man, that's one glaring thing that they could easily fix with their next console. I feel like.
So
I don't know how easy it would be, but yeah, that's why I got on both.
So here's the thing about that, Kyle. Would you be excited to know that the achievements are actually broken on the PS4 version?
How so?
So I've actually been playing on both platforms quite a bit, and I've tried to put a lot of time into the PS4 version, but because of specifically the achievements, because if I'm going to get the achievements in the game anyways, might as well have them on my account. Well, while I was playing, I realized I didn't get there's an achievement for beating the entire arcade mode with 1 credit. I didn't have that. I didn't have it beat on a hard mode, and I didn't have it beat with beating Shredder without getting hit. So I went through on. There's actually I think I went through a normal mode or hard mode. I don't remember off the top of my head. Either way, I unlocked the achievement for 1 credit, and I unlocked the achievement for I think it was just multiplayer for arcade in general, because I hadn't done it on the PS4.
Right.
But they gave me the achievements on the console, but they did not give me the achievements in the game. And the other day, I went on the game again, and I had the achievements in the game. And I was like, okay, well, maybe it got fixed. And so I went on the next day and checked again, and they were gone again. I looked online and was talking to people on Discord, and apparently, not only that, it's broken there, but it's also broken to where there is a achievement for getting all characters to level 10 and beating the game with all characters. And when this DLC launched, there is 2 new characters. And normally when a DLC comes out for a game, the achievements do not change. So you only have to beat the game, if there's an achievement like that, with the original cast of the game. But in this one, it was actually updated only on the PS4, mind you, to include the 2 new characters, which means if you do not have the DLC, you cannot get the platinum for this game currently. So that's fun.
That's frustrating, yeah.
Yeah.
It is very frustrating. What is kind of frustrating about that too is because on the Switch, it's all fine. It still looks like on the achievement screen on the game, it's all the same. Nothing's been changed.
But I will say, like, when you and I were played on the PlayStation, it's smoother on the PlayStation. You can't deny that.
So, yes, I will say that. That's if I was going to compare it. Well, I do have them both connected directly to my internet, but at the same time, yes, it is smoother. So going back and forth, because I've played both of them considerably, I would argue that, in my personal opinion, the Switch version is better. And the only reason I would say that is not only there's no achievement problems like it has now on the PS4. I don't like that another thing is they released the PS5 version, but it's not, you can't upgrade to the PS5 version, even though it means nothing to upgrade. I've looked at it online. I was like, they're saying it's exactly the same game. There's no updates or anything. There is a PS5 version. You have to buy it separately. Yeah. And the only reason they did that was because they wanted to show in the marketplace better, which I understand. But why do I have to sit here with the PS4 version with the little PS4 tag next to it, which kind of bothers me. I wish it said PS5 when I purchased the game a while ago. Also, on the Switch version, you could play 6-player. On the PS5 version, because there's I should 6-player couch co-op offline.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
So, but on the Switch version, you can, because you can have 6 controllers, so you can do that as well. So, I would argue personally that the Switch version is better. Yes, the PS5 version runs better, but if you're like me or like you two even, and you are huge fans of the original arcade game and you're a huge fan of Turtles in Time, you're used to a little slowdown. Like those games slow down. It's just kind of part of the beast. So, and on the Switch, to be completely fair, the only time it really like slows down is when there's a lot of people on the screen and like everybody in your party is doing their ultimates at the same time. That's the only time it really starts chugging. But everything chugs. It's not like you're getting hurt extra or anything. It's just the whole screen is just going into complete chaos mode. Yeah. So it hasn't really affected any problems.
So here's one other thing though, is like when you and I played, right? I played Raph and you played
Sagi the Samurai Rabbit.
So I remember that as we were playing it, you were like, "Oh man, this guy is really cool," blah blah blah. And towards the end of our playing session, you were like, I'm going to go look up some comics on him and stuff. Did you end up doing it?
I did. I read a chunk of his comics, a small chunk, about 2 or 3. And they were very enjoyable. They're much older, but they're very enjoyable. It's an interesting read, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. But I recommend it. They're on Comixology's or Amazon's comics service, which is like $6 a month.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't think I've actually ever read a Turtles comic. I don't know about you, Kyle.
I did back in the day, and recently I got The Last Ronin, which I highly recommend.
Fascinating. Yes, it's a fantastic read.
Okay.
So good. And
I almost bought that one, physical for like Tomas to give him, because I was like, love this.
I was going to say, I have my copy. You could just
borrow it.
Borrow it?
Oh, have it? Yeah. Oh, wow.
My thing is, if I give it to you, then you got to pass it along to the next person.
Fair enough. Yeah.
It's a fantastic read.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's what a lot of people are asking for in Shredder's Revenge. When people have talked about other characters, people are really hoping to get Ronin.
The game was announced for Last Ronin.
Yes, there is a game coming, which sounds fantastic as well. I'm excited for it.
But this new one coming out isn't going to be like this.
They're calling it they're calling it like Arkham Asylum or Spider-Man-esque, but with Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, we haven't seen any gameplay.
We've heard nothing. There's a small trailer that shows nothing. Just kind of teases the idea of the game, but that's about it. It sounds interesting. If it's going to be great, I would love a good Turtles game. I love Turtles.
Yeah,
so.
that would be awesome if they would do a good Turtles game.
But I've gotten a little sidetracked here. So this is the DLC. So me and Tomas played a little bit. I played a lot. Essentially, it's a survival mode, and it comes with the 2 characters. It also comes with quite a bit of skins. They made quite a few skins, including a Nintendo one, a black and white one.
Yeah, black and white one looks phenomenal.
No, when I got the Game Boy one or Nintendo one.
The Nintendo one, yeah.
Yeah,
I like the Nintendo one.
Yeah, when I got the Nintendo one with Raph, Kyle, that just became my outfit. I was like, no, this is how Raph needs to look.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at the screenshots, and it's so nostalgic. It's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the skins are fantastic. Not all of them are unlocked. There's about 5 that are just come right when you get it, including the 90s Turtles from the movie, Kyle. That they have a skin for that. So there's quite a few skins, and there's quite a few unlockable ones. My favorite is also the Nintendo one and the Super Nintendo one for Karai. So, who I've been really enjoying as well. The 2 new characters, I wanted to point out that I don't know if you guys remember, but beating the game, you unlock Casey Jones.
Yeah.
So Casey Jones actually has 1 more stat than everybody else, so he's a little more powerful. These 2 new characters also have the same thing. So
An
all
extra
three.
stat.
So these three characters are technically more powerful than the original cast.
But I will say
Besides Casey
playing
Jones.
playing alongside Alan, who was Usagi.
Karai. Yeah, I was. Oh no, I was. You're right. I was Usagi.
Yeah,
I did
who was
Karai later.
Usagi, and I was Raph. There was I would have never guessed that there was a power difference between me and
It's
Usagi
not
playing next to
noticeable.
Alan. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's nice to have a little bit more power with them, but I don't want anyone to be like deterred from playing with them.
Yeah.
Buddy was saying, because you really don't notice it playing next to them. Like,
and I did Raph first as well because he's my favorite turtle. So that's immediately, even though I've already beat the game, I still chose Raph for the survival mode. The survival mode itself is really fun. It is about, there's 6 crystals, and so 6 different areas. Well, technically 5 different areas, with the 6th crystal being the boss battle at the end of the mode if you would unlock the entire thing. As you gain levels, and you gain levels by gaining crystals, you get more health, you get 1 more life, and then you eventually, I think at level 5, you get the ability to choose which dimension you want to go to or want to start at. So that makes it a little bit easier as well for when you want to try to get to that, finally get to the boss. And overall, I'm having a blast with it. I'm loving playing with random people online. It was fun to play with Tomas. I'm hoping to get to play with some more people as well. I'm still enjoying it, and I'm planning on going back. Both Karai and Usagi are extremely fun and unique characters. And so overall, I really enjoy this game.
So real quick before we kind of check out on this, Alan, you've played Shredder's Revenge then, and you played the other one, right? The
Cowabunga collection? I think we were talking about that for a little bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You played that one too, right?
Yeah.
So out of these two, Cowabunga collection and Shredder, which one would you say, if I had to choose one to buy and play, which one would you buy and play?
Well, it really depends on how you like retro games. If you love retro games in particular, Cowabunga Collection is going to be the bang for your buck, no doubt. It has, I think, 8 or 9 separate games all on there with amazing extra features and stuff. So if you love retro gaming, that's going to be my choice for you. But if you just want a solid Turtles game, I think this game is better than all of those games at this time, just because it is a better game overall. But you're probably not gonna spend as much. I would argue you'd probably spend as much time on this one. But again, like I said, if you're not really into retro games, you're not gonna really enjoy those games as much. You may enjoy the 2 arcade games, but after that, you'd probably kind of fall off because some of those games are pretty old, they're pretty hard. And they do have like rewind and stuff like that, but it's gonna be, if you're not one for that type of atmosphere, you're not gonna have a really good time. Whereas this game is really more open to everybody. Everybody can kind of enjoy. Even my son's played it with me quite a bit, and he's not a huge fan of retro games either. But I've had quite a few people play with me, and 6 players at once is fantastic. Anybody can play this game. It's easy. It can be very easy. It can be very challenging as well. If you want it to be, you can up the scale. But if you're at a family gathering and you want to put on chill mode, everybody can play this game without any issues. It's a super fun game. So I would say if I had to choose, I would choose Shredder's Revenge for me personally. But if they were like huge fans of retro games, then I'd probably just get the Cowboy Collection. Overall, get both because they're both barely cheap. I think the Cowboy Collection is like $30. This game's like $20. So it's like you're getting a good deal either way. So don't.
Yeah, I mean, really, the Shredder's Revenge is an homage to all those games, right? Like without those older games, you wouldn't have this one. And so if you want to see where like this game came from and like all the inspiration, then go back and play those games for a little bit. But you don't have the leveling up. You don't have like you don't get to level up your characters in those old games. That's a huge bonus, a huge reason to keep replaying. And Now they're adding characters that you've never been able to play before in any of the older games. So I would agree with Alan. Shredder's Revenge. If you had to choose one, I think you're going to go with that one. You're going to get more hours out of it for sure.
Yeah, well, me personally, I'm not a huge fan of retro games, so I would honestly choose Shredder's Revenge. Although I don't have the
Cowabunga collection.
Yeah, I don't have the Cowabunga collection, but I've seen people playing it and stuff, and it's.
But if you got it as a gift,
I would probably play it. Yeah,
it's fantastic, and it has online, which is really cool. So you can play those arcade games online, which is really cool. Awesome. So Shredder's Revenge, Dimension Shell Shock. It is still on sale. I hope it will still be on sale when this podcast is up. And the achievements are broken on the PlayStation. But
PS4.
There's a PS4, sorry, particularly the PS4. Or PS5. Well, I'm playing it on the PS5. As I said earlier, the PS4, the whole thing's complicated. You can rewind if you need to know. But I'm playing on the PS5 with the PS4 version. What's nice about the PS4 version, though, is that you can use PS4 controllers on them, which is, I guess, a bonus.
Well, actually, I was going to say something interesting, Alan, that you brought up with this is the fact that you couldn't upgrade to the PS5 system, right? And this actually kind of leads into our next topic with PlayStation and things like that. So, have you guys seen this thing about the price hikes? Yeah,
I've been kind of showing it off in Discord as well. It's pretty interesting. I do have a breakdown if you guys are interested. Of the three major consoles right now. Most particularly, what we're talking about is PlayStation Plus, which originally costed $60 annually for Essential, $99.99 for Extra, and $119.99 for Premium. This is in American dollars or US dollars. The price is going up $20 across the board for $79.99, $134.99, and $159.99. Yes. Now, yeah. So comparing across the board, and this is where it kind of, I hate this. Don't get me wrong, but to their benefit, technically it is still cheaper than Xbox. So Xbox is $9.99 a month or $119 yearly for their basic tier, either on Game Pass, either on Xbox. I didn't know that actually. They're getting rid of that. Yeah, well, there you go, Kyle. What do you mean they're getting rid of that?
They're going down to just one. It's just
so. Is it only going to be the $14.99 per month model?
I believe so.
The Ultimate Pass.
Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure that's where they're going, and they're raising the price on that too.
But even if that's the case, right? Let's consider what you're getting with Xbox's price versus PlayStation's price, which actually shocked me when I saw that video, Alan. Like, I did not know that, honestly.
Yes. So the one thing you do get with Ultimate is you do get not only PC and Xbox games, but you also get the EA subscription service, and you get day one games, which is becoming a gray area, as we've seen with Starfield. That there was still a 3-day, I think it was a 3-day premium purchase you could make if you bought the game, which would give you 3 days earlier than the launch game that people got on Game Pass. So then, what day is the launch day? It starts becoming a weird area.
Could I actually bring something up on that too that frustrates me? And this might have been only on PlayStation, but I don't believe it was. That also happened with Diablo, which was
and Baldur's Gate.
And Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, it's becoming a common practice that you can pay and get a couple days early, but this is a first party studio from Microsoft or from Xbox, however you want to say it, and they have this premium version. So if they're basically, you pay more, you get to pay earlier than the launch day on their service, which is Game Pass. It starts becoming a gray area. When is the first day for the game that's coming out?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do want to mention it's $14.99 for the Ultimate Pass right now, which is $179 yearly, which is still more expensive than the PlayStation Premium at $159.99.
Right. And
just to leave it there.
I looked it up. They're not they're not getting rid of that plan. They're changing the name of it because they're shutting down the 360 servers pretty soon.
Yeah,
so.
I heard about that. Which, to give them their merit, I am surprised they've had them up that long. To be completely honest, I mean, PlayStation got PS3 is still up too. So but because PS3 got really hounded about it. Yeah, they got hounded hard.
They're about to, and then there's such a outcry that they're like, okay, never mind, and now it's just, who knows when.
Well, here's something else that's kind of frustrating me, right? And I hadn't realized this until actually the whole thing with Baldur's Gate happened, right? So on Monday, I woke up, I turned on my PlayStation, I saw that I could download Baldur's Gate, and I was like, wait a second, I thought I didn't get the early access, what's going on? And so I started downloading it, and then I had just the day before lost Feared, my druid, and we will miss him.
R.I.P.
Yeah. But so I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll pay the extra $20 and upgrade my Baldur's Gate to the premium so I can just play now.
That's why they do it.
And you can't do that.
Wait,
and
what?
You can't do it. You got to buy the game. You got to buy a whole new game.
Oh, that's I didn't know that. That can't be right.
No, that is right. And if you start downloading the game, you cannot return it to reimburse to purchase the new game.
Yeah,
once it starts downloading, it's done.
Yeah, PlayStation has like a 7-day preemptive where you can get a refund for your it's 7-day or something. I don't remember it might be just download at first, or it might be 7. I thought it was like 7 days, but
from what I was reading,
before it comes out,
it downloads.
You voided it.
From what I was reading, as soon as you download it, voids it.
And that sounds weird. Everybody gets one though, so if you want to make a big stink about it, call Sony or the PlayStation. Seriously, everybody gets one.
You're right.
Yeah.
If you call them, they will refund you. It's just that you will have that mark on your account, and they won't do it again.
Yeah, well, honestly, I only have to wait 12 more hours, and I can play it. But it kind of blew my mind that I just couldn't pay the difference from the normal edition to the upgrade edition. I had to physically buy a whole new thing.
Because you could do that with Diablo too, because I had that option when I was looking at it.
But I actually read up on it, and apparently, that's something that PlayStation has started doing, where if you wanted the better game, you should have bought it. You can buy it now.
Yeah. PlayStation has a pretty big grasp right now, and they're making some very weird decisions.
Interesting choices,
It's
almost a little cocky.
Yeah, it's like they know that they've kind of cornered the market, and so now they're just gonna slap us around a bit.
Speaking of which, real quick side tangent. We don't have to spend too long, but have you guys heard anything about Starfield? Because this is
a little bit.
So my friend Bri that I was telling you that I played with when Fear died, he is waiting to download it right now. Actually, I think he has it downloaded now. So he's probably playing it now.
Yeah.
But so he was super excited about it. So, but I don't know once he starts playing.
Right. Like, I'm excited for it, but it's out, and I want to know, because this is a pretty big turning point for Xbox, and it goes along with what we're talking about. Because if it tanks, then PlayStation is just gonna, they're gonna get even more cocky.
I don't think it'll tank. I've been hearing 7s to 10s, which is good. It's not like a knock out of the park, but it's also a Bethesda game, which means
it needs to be though.
You're not wrong. It does need to be a knock out of the park, but it's, from what I've been understanding, it's not really. Like, there's a lot of bugs. It's essentially Skyrim or a Fallout in space. It's the same problems that a lot of those games have. The same little bugs. There's a lot of bugs all around. The same workarounds and things like that you have to do. It's just it's part of the course of what Bethesda comes out with, which for any Bethesda fan, they'll probably love that. They'll be completely. It definitely has the Bethesda soul, from what I'm understanding, which is good or bad, however you look at it. So But I don't know. I don't think this is gonna be the savior for Xbox either. I can't see that. If I had a crystal ball, like I don't see that in the future. But that being the savior, I don't think Xbox is going anywhere either. But that's just me.
But do you think? Here's my thing, right? Is we were watching that whole thing on PlayStation, right? And now that they have kind of dominated, and especially if Starfield doesn't save Xbox, they will continue to
save
dominate.
as a stretch, but yeah, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, it's cool. So my thing is, are the fans of PlayStation gonna make enough of a fuss for this to matter? Like, or are people just gonna be like for me personally, and I'll be honest here, for me personally, I was like, this sucks, but I paid it anyways. I'm sorry, I want to play online.
Yeah, that's kind of where it comes in. I've been hearing a lot of stinky buzz. I don't know what to call it. It's like stank online, but not enough that I think that Sony's going to do anything about it. Like I just said, that all they have to say is, I mean, it's technically cheaper than Xbox. So what? We're raising the price, but we're raising it lower than the competition. So, I mean, what can you say? Like, the only one you could even bring up, which I did write down, was Nintendo's subscription service.
But isn't Nintendo switching to one subscription now? Also? As
far as I know, they have the regular $20 a year subscription, plus the expansion pack is $50 a year. But Nintendo has the family plan, which is something that neither of these companies have, which is $34.99 per year. And you can have up to 6 people. And you can get it for $80 a year, which I have the family plan, and I actually still have some seats on it. So I probably should start reaching out to some people.
Yeah, hey man,
are we not family or what? What the
heck? What's going on?
Call me Vin Diesel over here because we're family.
But so I've had that for a while, and like $80 a year is a steal when you compare it to these other systems. Now. Nintendo's online service is not $80 a year is for family plan plus the expansion.
Oh, plus expansion.
So it's like all of it. And
yeah, that's pretty good.
It is. But I would argue that Nintendo's online service is not nearly as polished as the other two.
Yeah. No, and one of the bonuses was Mario Kart tracks, which will be done at the end of the year. So were they going to keep that?
Which price? I bought like a sucker, so I have those already.
I mean, PlayStation suckered me, Alan. Don't feel bad about it.
So it happened a while ago. I just got them because I wanted them, and I didn't really think about it. But fortunately, I do have a family plan, so my wife and my son, who are both in the family plan, also have access to them too, which they wouldn't have if I just bought it for the one account anyways. So we still get to utilize it. But that was just bringing up Nintendo. So this is the future of gaming unless you're on PC. That is one thing I raid with a couple people that are on PC, and that's kind of what's brought up is like, does this like make PC more appealing now that these companies are starting to raise their rates continuously? Like it's going to keep going up. There's no question about it at this point.
So here's my thing with PC, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am wrong. But for me with PC, at least what I saw with like my fiance when she played and stuff like that, her computer was great for a couple of years. And then after a couple of years, it started having trouble with the newer games and things like that. That's something that I will at least say as a console player, I will have my console for probably 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And I will be able to play the very first game that came out on that console and the very last game that comes out on that console.
Yeah, and that's mainly because of stagnant hardware. So consoles have a specific hardware that's in every single console. So when they make a game for the console, they are catering to that hardware.
Yeah.
PCs, on the other hand, they can't, even if they cater to a specific hardware, you could have any number of graphics cards, processors, RAM combinations. So
but I'm
it's
just
hard
saying,
to cater to everyone.
Yeah, but I'm
That's
just
the
saying
issue.
that for me personally, that's an advantage that console has.
It is.
Over
It is very much an advantage. There's a couple advantages that consoles have because of that right there. Stagnant hardware is an advantage. And then I was spacing.
I wouldn't know.
Control, ease of access.
Yeah.
So that's another thing is ease of access, where you can just kind of play your games with pretty easy. You don't have to worry about updates. It updates itself.
Yeah.
PCs can as well, to an extent. No matter what, there will always be some tinkering with games and things like that to get them to work properly because of how many different versions of the hardware that there can be. So some hardware will have more problems with the specific games than others because the game was built using a different hardware. It's just these are little things that happen with PC gaming. It just depends on the game, though.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
Oh, but it does have a lot of advantages as well. But also, I've heard that a good PC, if you are playing PC gaming, you should be either replacing or at least drastically upgrading your PC every 5 years.
Oh wow!
That's about as long as they last.
And then here's the other thing.
To play modern games.
Yeah, and then here's the other question that I have that probably Kyle you could answer is, I don't think PC games have the buyback value.
Zero.
There's no buyback value.
Yeah. So,
not anymore. Back in the day, maybe, but yeah, it's become it's zero. It's pretty much digital. Like you're not buying. I don't think there are physical
games
PC
anymore.
games. There might be. There probably is.
But they are very rare. It's not as common. You can go to Walmart and see some ones in the bargain area. But for the most part, yeah, you're looking at digital, and that's where you're gonna get them cheaper digital anyways. So it's gonna be best.
Is there a market at all, Kyle, for old PC games? Like,
oh yeah, huge. Like 90s.
Yeah. 90s.
You want to answer, Alan?
Oh, I was going to, but then you took over, so I figured you probably know more than I do, to be honest. I didn't think there was very much. I know that big boxes, like the old big boxes, are worth a lot, but it's really about the boxes nowadays. Like they're not gonna. It's very few people actually have the setup to start playing those old games.
There you go.
That's all I was gonna say. Was I accurate?
Sure.
Now I'm curious. Am I wrong? I don't know. I'm guessing.
I don't know, man.
I used to watch videos. I used to watch a guy. I can't remember his name right now, but he used to do a lot of old PC gaming. But he was like a collection. He collected a lot of old PCs. So that's a very niche. It's not as easy as like buying an N64 and then playing N64 games. So we know what's going on with the current generation of PlayStation. But what about the older generations of PlayStation? How much of a PlayStation fan would you both consider yourselves being, and what generation of PlayStation games would be more interesting, or would be the most interesting, or even hardware for you? Kyle, do you want to start first?
My personal favorite is, it's like a toss-up between PS2 and PS3. I missed the PS3 boat when it was, relevant. And funny enough, I bought my first PS3 off Tomas, which he ended up buying back from me.
Yeah, for my fiance.
Yeah, exactly. Which is cool, right? Like,
yeah,
I had a great run with that thing. That's how I played Batman. Both, like, I think all the Batmans I played on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, and you had some games downloaded, I think, which is why you wanted it back. But I, like, looking back, the PS3, the whole story of it all, like, the PS2 is the best-selling console ever. The library is crazy. Like, you could just sit down with that console and, like, Tomas, like you were saying, you don't like retro games.
Yeah.
And those are technically retro, but I bet you could find enough games to last the rest of your life on PS2 alone.
Yeah, I probably could.
And PS3 is still kind of modern enough. So I forgot what the question was, but I guess PS3, if I had to pick, the PS3 is the one to go with. Like that generation of games is so good, right? Like you can still get the classic RPGs, but you have the newer, like The Last of Us was on there. That started changing how games were made and how stories were told in gaming.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because that's like the one that they can't really quite figure out on PS5 yet.
Yeah.
It's like emulation or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty bad things on the Last of Us for the new PS5. I actually never even got it, the new one.
The Last of Us?
Yeah, I played the first
2?
one. Yeah, I played the first one, but I didn't play the second one.
It's something else. We have episodes about it.
Yeah.
If you dig them back up, but
yeah, I mean, me personally, PlayStation fandom, when did it start for me? I mean, for me personally, I didn't have a gaming console for a while. I played on the computer mostly, like Age of Empires and things like that. And then Bri was going to get the one before Wii, but after 64.
GameCube?
GameCube, thank you. He was going to get the GameCube, and so they sold me their 64, and that's kind of when I started gaming really hard. Like when I was little, I had a Nintendo. I didn't have a Super. I had a Nintendo. No, wait, I did have a Super because I gave you Kirby, Alan.
Yes,
right?
I traded you Kirby. You gave me Kirby, and I gave you Donkey Kong Country 3. I remember. Yes.
Yes. So I did have a Super that I eventually got rid of.
No, I'm just kidding.
And then I got the 64, and I kind of stayed with the 64 for a while, but I never liked the 64 control.
It's clunky.
I never liked the GameCube's control really either.
Whoa, hey, be careful there.
I'm sorry.
People still love that and prefer that.
Really?
Smash Bros. Yeah.
Nah. Well, for Smash Bros. Maybe, but just to play any game, I didn't like it.
Yeah,
but
the C-stick is just not usable. I'll give you that.
Yeah. But I remember the Xbox, and even the old Xbox, the big controller, right? I remember that big controller.
The Duke. It was called the Duke.
And I remember like this, even though it's huge, it's pretty comfortable. The thumb.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, the joysticks are right in front of your thumbs, so you don't have to stretch them or anything. You know, I loved it. But then I got a PS3 because I had Dragon Age on the Xbox 360 actually, and my buddy got Dragon Age on his PS3, and we were actually in the same room playing. He was on his TV and I was on mine, and I remember I looked over at his TV and I looked back at my TV and I was like, do you have the settings on your TV different? And he was like, no. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a PS3. Like, I could see the visual
that
difference.
Noticeable. Wow.
Yeah. And so I got a PS3, and ever since then, man, I haven't looked back. PlayStation has just supplied me with more games that I've enjoyed. Like Halo went so downhill for me on Xbox. I didn't really enjoy that anymore. Fable went so downhill in Xbox. I didn't really enjoy that anymore. I enjoyed Gears to a point, but I was never huge into Gears. And so I just remember being like, no, I like PlayStation better. The games it has are better. And yeah, I just never switched. Although I am so glad that PS5 has slightly changed their controller, because man, that dog bone, I hated that thing. The PlayStation controller, it's like a dog bone. It has two knobs on the end, then it's thin in the middle. Who does that?
Like the PS3 or PS4?
Yeah, PS3
and
PS4.
Earlier.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Even PS4?
The PS4 was a little more comfortable, but I think PS5 has finally started to kind of get the idea that you don't have to have your thumbs at a 90-degree angle to play a game.
Yeah, I've always liked Xbox controllers. I think.
Yeah,
have
Xbox
the
had
one
it
up.
best. Yeah, Xbox had it best. They really did. What about you, Alan? Though, what about you?
Well, what did you pick your favorite
PS3.
generation? Oh,
PS3.
PS3. You're both PS3. Wow.
Yeah.
It's the one that switched me, man. I got to do justice.
same.
The one that switched me. Like,
Same. I had 3 Xbox 360s before my PS3 that all broke.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, really?
yeah, the Red Ring of Death, man. All 3 of them got it.
Man, all of them, huh?
Yeah,
I only got
dude,
that one.
It's at a 54% rate.
Wow.
The first model. They made a newer model, but
Yeah.
dude, when over half of
Yeah.
fail, that's bad.
That's hard.
Rough, yeah. Well, I would love to say like PS2 or something because I do have some fond memories with that one. But my PS2 memories involve playing Oni, Super Bombette Racing when it came out, and Kingdom Hearts.
I knew
Kingdom
it.
Hearts.
Yeah.
And then that one died. That PlayStation died not too long after that. It didn't last very long, which was very surprising. That was the big one, the big PlayStation 2.
Really? Because I thought you had that little one.
I did, and then I eventually bought the little one not too long
Oh,
after.
okay.
I played a couple games on there. The Slim.
Mm.
I played, Kingdom Hearts 2 and Soul Calibur 3.
Yeah, Soul Calibur, man. Whew.
And so there was quite a few games I played on that one, but at that point I was more just playing on 360 for a while, but it wasn't until PS4. PS4 really pulled me back quite a bit because I didn't really play much on the PS3 at all. And PS4 saved me from my own fault of building my own PC, it lasting about 2-3 years, and then just basically stop working. And so I was looking into upgrading it, and apparently whatever model of motherboard I got was no longer compatible with any of the new parts. So I would have to basically be gutting my PC and starting from scratch. So I felt like I kind of got gypped, and I didn't really, and it was gonna end up being a couple, about $500-$600. So I was sitting here like, well, I could just go buy a PS4 and then just do everything on there instead. And I did, and I really enjoyed it, and it was the best purchase. And I've loved PS4. It was fantastic, and I would even argue that PS5 is really just a continuation of PS4.
Yeah,
it's really the same ecosystem and everything. I mean, so
except they fixed the loading times.
I mean, the load times are fantastic.
Bravo.
Like, the ecosystem and everything is all just feels the same.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean,
which is great. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, for sure.
yeah, and well, I mean, like, to me, that's exactly what PlayStation did, Alan. They recognized that they had made something that worked, and they were like, you know what? Instead of risking trying to give something new, we'll just do it again. And to me, that's genius. Because why risk putting out something new that people are going to be like, well, I hate this, when you could just be like, everyone loves this, just do it again. Like,
and yeah, that's a good point. Going back to the PC point too, you mentioned like every 5 years is basically you're gonna have to reinvent your PC or upgrade, right?
Yeah, at least upgrade, maybe
right,
just remake it.
So, and that's about the lifespan of consoles now. So, it's basically give or take, right? Some last longer. PS4 went a little bit longer, but give or take, and probably the same with PC, give or take. But the one thing that the consoles have, because I used to buy into that, right? I'm like, you know what? If I ever do get a PC, like, I always thought that would be the better route. But now that I actually thought about it, the things with consoles is, if you upgraded a new one, you could still go play your old one. You're not tearing it apart to add new parts. So like, you could go back and play your library of games that you already own. With PC. You tear it apart. Maybe those older ones, the system requirements don't even match anymore. I kind of give that point to the consoles at this point. When I used to say PCs were a little bit superior, but going way back to your point, Alan, about does this push people towards PCs? It does. the price hike, the original point of the price hike. I think it does.
Yeah.
And
if it doesn't push people towards PCs, it will push them towards Nintendo or maybe even Xbox, because although Xbox is more expensive, you have the huge catalog of games up front.
Yeah, but with Xbox, you could pay monthly. You could give it a trial run, and I think you can.
Well, you can with PlayStation too. Yeah,
the catalog has been up and running for longer, so they have that better. The exclusives are worse for Xbox, that's for sure. Like Halo is not doing well. Like you said, Gears has kind of died out.
Yeah,
like you mentioned, and
Fable is trying to come back.
Yeah, they're trying, but it's not even. Yeah, so that's why I was saying Starfield it needed to be a 10 plus for them. It really needed to, and there's still time. Maybe they fix the bugs that it becomes a console seller. But the thing I was going to mention was, I'm not sure how this all works, because in economy throughout the ages, supply and demand was basically what you look at, right? But this is a digital age, so there might be a demand for it, but the supply is infinite, right? Like if you have access to it, you can buy it. So like I'm not sure how that plays into this. So maybe the demand is just that high, though.
Maybe,
right? If we're still playing by those rules, which maybe we're not, but let's say we are, supply and demand. If the demand is high, you raise the price, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah.
And so PlayStation's sitting pretty. Rather than just pushing it $10, they push it $20, which is that's what's wild to me. Like $10, I get.
Yeah. That's the part that's wild to me too. I'm with you on that, Kyle. And if I was just to put my last thoughts on this, it would be that I can reasonably understand PlayStation upping their prices. What I can't understand is why it's going up this much. That doesn't make sense to me.
I agree.
I would like to end with one thing. So they are raising the price no matter what, but is there a feature that you could think of that you want on their online service that would merit a $20 increase?
The ability to test a game before you buy it.
Or like a demo?
Yeah, demo. Because then I would agree to it, because there have been a few games
Steam does it. Steam gives you about, I think it's like 4 or 5 hours on a game.
Yeah. I'm not asking for
I think it's like 30 minutes. I think it's 30 minutes, but I think you get like a 30-minute time slot, and then if you don't like it, you can return it.
I'd probably want a little more than 30 minutes, because that's just character creation in some games. But
if you're trying out the game, you're like, well, I'm not sure. You could just speed through character creation just to give it a shot.
You could just grab the default and go. Yeah.
That's a good one, Tomas.
But that's mine. Yeah.
Like
it's a really good one.
I swear, I'm pretty sure maybe it's certain games.
There are demos it's a very limited quantity.
Oh, okay.
What's available?
I've been seeing more with the Nintendo too, actually doing demos, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Like with their mainline games like Pikmin and I think Fire Emblem maybe had a.
Yeah, Fire Emblem had one as well.
So yeah, that's a good one. Shoot, if I had to pick something that would merit $20 increase, I guess just like a even more robust library of retro games.
I'd agree to that too.
Like you'd have to double
those
it.
retro games in.
Yeah, because
double it.
I've been using Game Pass for years, and they do it well.
Yeah,
and there's a lot that are not on the list on PlayStation that I would love to see on there. So, or the ability to play physical PS3 games.
Yeah,
that's like an update, or maybe not even possible. But I would love to be able to play my PS3 discs on my PS5.
That would be fantastic. I don't think that would ever happen. I can't.
Yeah, I don't
honestly.
think so either,
you both came up with some really good ideas. I don't know if I think those should just be added without the additional cost, but stuff like that would make it more appealing for sure.
Yeah, right.
Maybe having access to some of Sony's movies would be nice.
Yeah,
Sony does have a
that would be
Sony production studio. I mean, that would be a fun.
That's a good idea.
Or like a
feature.
discounted price, even.
Yeah,
a
Yeah,
dollar,
discounted price,
dollar
yeah.
or two for a movie. I would be on board for that.
Yeah, I'd be
So-
on board for that.
Something like that. I can't really think of anything that would merit an entire $20 increase. But
Yeah,
yeah, these are
Sony,
all good options.
maybe
Call
maybe
us,
if you
Sony.
take
We got ideas.
maybe if you take all three of our ideas and put them together, it would merit a 20.
It would at least.
Perhaps.
It could at least if they came up with some more features though, and announced it while talking about the increase. Maybe it would soften the blow though.
That's true.
Yeah,
There's
it's more, but we are working really hard on adding all this other stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, here's something at least down the line, like maybe not immediately, but here's something we're working on. Yeah, it's pretty gutsy of them. It's pretty bold, I should say. Pretty bold of them to just come out with that. And like we said though, Xbox doesn't have that power right now, so PlayStation is the ball is in their court, so to speak.
Yeah. Yep.
Xbox does have a chance if they could come out with some good games or, something. They could compete. They could if they can they could take advantage of the unease. But I'm still kind of feeling we're kind of in a mid-console point at this point. I don't think anybody's changing sides drastically right now.
Look at it. Look at it this way though. Xbox came out swinging back when PS2, right? Or was it PS3 when Xbox first launched? I think it's PS2.
PS2, yeah.
So Xbox came out swinging with PS2, and it gave PS a fight, and so I think it's possible for Xbox to do it. You know what I mean? Like I think it can.
I would argue that they won the PS3 era.
Yes, they did.
If you're looking at numbers, like they didn't. PS2 was just destroyed them.
Yeah.
If you're looking at numbers, I get maybe just like nostalgia and just the fact that they came on the scene, but they actually won despite all the failure, they won the 360 era with their games and their content and like their online.
Online was huge.
Yeah, so they kind of need to maybe not compete with their exclusives, which is kind of where they're going. But try something different, right? Like maybe I don't know, but find
a new area to dominate like they had before.
Right. Yeah. Game Pass was that, but now the PlayStation hopped on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we all in agreement that we all really love PlayStation in some regard, are disappointed about the increase, and we hope that PlayStation maybe comes up with some other, options or benefits. Maybe just allowing you to connect to different Bluetooth devices. That'd be kind of nice, like what Nintendo did.
Gosh.
Just I just randomly thought about that. But I think that's where we're going to call it for this evening. So thank you for joining us, and hopefully we can see you in 2 weeks to talk about more nerdy topics. So see you then.
Have a good one.
Bye.